Heaven Official's Blessing Episode 6. In the previous episode, deep in the pitch-black sinner's pit, Xie Lian found himself held firmly in Sanlang's arms as General Pei rampaged through the darkness, demanding to know who had slaughtered his fallen soldiers. With no breath, no heartbeat, and blades flickering like cold silver light, Sanlang effortlessly protected Xie Lian while Pei attacked in fury. As the truth surfaced, Xie Lian realized Sanlang had wiped out the ravenous spirits below, but he cared less about what Sanlang was, and more about who he was. Their tense exchange revealed trust, warmth, and the unsettling realization that Xie Lian had grown used to being carried. Meanwhile, Pei rage exposed a far deeper mystery. The true state preceptor who betrayed Ban Yu was not the woman in white roaming the ruins, but the maiden in black who had been hanging lifelessly above the pit. At the end of the previous episode, Xie Lian stood frozen as he finally understood. The identities of the women were completely reversed, and the betrayal that destroyed Ban Yu was far more horrifying than he imagined. What will happen next? Stay tuned. And the story continues. The state preceptor of Ban Yu. The longer Xie Lian listened, the odder he found it to be, and the more he thought about it, the more confusing it became. In the end, he spoke up. "General, if I may ask." Xie Lian's words barely had time to settle in the cold, shadowed pit before General Pei erupted with anger. "Stop asking. After killing my soldiers you still want to talk? I will not answer anymore. Come at me." Sanlang, standing calmly beside Xie Lian, interrupted. "I was the one who killed them. He did nothing. You can answer him, then fight me if you wish." Pei spat in frustration, unable to see reason. "You are all lackeys sent by her. It is the same thing." Xie Lian spoke quickly, his voice gentle but firm. "General Pei, you misunderstand. Our purpose for coming to the Gobi Desert was to root out Ban Yu's state preceptor. How could we have been sent by her?" Pei fell silent for a moment, considering the words. Then, suspiciously, he asked, "If you were not sent by her, why did you kill all my soldiers?" "It was self-defense," Xie Lian explained. "You tried to throw us down here. We had no choice but to act." Pei snorted. "Nonsense. I did not throw you. I even grabbed you just now. You insisted on jumping yourselves." Xie Lian smiled faintly and said, "Yes, we jumped ourselves. But now we are all trapped in this pit together. Perhaps we can put aside our differences. Tell me, why did the state preceptor of Ban Yu open the gates and allow the army to massacre the city?" Pei refused to calm down, fixated on his grievance. "The two of you are despicable, ganging up on me." Xie Lian waved a hand. "I only struck you once. It was not much." Despite the tension, Xie Lian's mind was quietly calculating. Sanlang had clearly overpowered him even while carrying him, yet Pei assumed Xie Lian could have defeated him one-on-one. Xie Lian felt protective of Sanlang in this moment, but he knew Pei would respond better to reasoning than to brute force. Sanlang, impatient as ever, interjected, "Answer him, for your soldiers' sake." Pei looked puzzled. "They are already dead. Threatening me with them is useless." "They are still here," Sanlang said slowly, "and the state of their bodies will decide their rebirth. Do you want them to go peacefully, or to be reborn as a bloody mess?" The impact of the words hit Pei. In Ban Yu, strict funeral rites meant that the condition of the body would affect the person's next life. If they were mutilated or pulped, their rebirth would be cursed. He ground his teeth, horrified. Finally, he said reluctantly, "Do not touch them. They were valiant soldiers. Though trapped in the sinner's pit, they should not be dishonored further." Xie Lian nodded gently. "I give you my word. Know thyself, know thy enemy." "We hope to understand the state preceptor, her motives, and her past, so we can act wisely." Pei sighed, perhaps relieved to have a shared focus. He began to recount the tragic history of Ban Yu's state preceptor. She had been born of a Ban Yu mother and a Yong'an father. In the frontier lands, prejudice ran deep. Her father eventually left for Yong'an, and her mother died of heartbreak. leaving the girl orphaned at 7 or 8 years old. She grew up hungry and mistreated, physically small and frail, mocked by her Ban Yu peers, and only a few Yang'an children treated her kindly. At 10, a revolt broke out. She disappeared for several years. And when she returned, she was changed. She had survived a long journey across the Gobi Desert and returned with formidable magical skills. She had also gained control over the feared scorpion-tailed snakes, creatures capable of deadly venom attacks. Her return inspired awe, fear, and respect. Despite her childhood hardships, she had become a high-ranking mage in Ban Yu's court, a state preceptor. Xie Lian listened carefully as Mo continued. Many in Ban Yu tried to slander her, even petitioning to have her executed as a devil sent by the scorpion-tailed snakes. But I defended her. I saw myself in her suffering and admired her skill. Mo recounted a particular incident in the desert, where he led an army against bandits. The bandits' underground dens caused heavy casualties. During a violent sandstorm, the young mage single-handedly dug out the wounded soldiers and even the dead, sheltering them in a newly created underground cave. She worked tirelessly with bloodied hands, waiting at the cave mouth like a lonely little wolf. Her dedication earned Mo's unwavering trust, and he supported her appointment as state preceptor. Years later, war broke out between Yang'an and Ban Yu. The state preceptor attempted to protect Ban Yu's soldiers by setting up an altar and calling for divine protection. The soldiers were emboldened, and battle raged fiercely. Yet, at the peak of the fighting, she suddenly opened the city gates, allowing the enemy forces to enter and slaughter Ban Yu's troops. Mo, furious and desperate, captured her and hanged her over the sinner's pit. Even after that, the hatred between the dead soldiers and her endured, trapping them in the pit as wrathful spirits. For 2 centuries, Mo repeatedly captured her, hung her, and fed soldiers into the pit, unable to escape the cycle. Xie Lian considered the implications. Mo's dedication to growing Kindred Moon herbs, even using a living man as fertilizer to manage the venomous snakes, showed how much fear the living still had for these creatures. If they feared the snakes in life, they certainly respected her command over them. Yet questions remained. How could such a powerful mage be repeatedly captured? Why did the snakes seem to appear at the right moments, almost facilitating Mo's actions? Was this part of a larger design by the state preceptor? Were the two sides only pretending to be enemies? Before Xie Lian could voice his next question, he remembered the 2 female officials seen earlier, one dressed in white, one in black. He leaned closer to Mo and whispered, "Do you know who they are?" San Lang immediately hushed him, signaling to look up. The squared night sky stretched overhead, with the half-moon shining cold and bright. Then, at the edge of the pit, Xie Lian spotted a small black figure peering down. Slowly, the silhouette became a full figure. It leapt, hurtling through the night air. As the person was hurtling towards them, Xie Lian could see clearly. This person was the state preceptor of Ban Yu, who had been hanging from the pole over the sinner's pit. The Ban Yu nation's scrap collector recounts a fortuitous meeting after the Ban Yu's state preceptor jumped down. She immediately spoke in the Ban Yu dialect. Mo, what happened? The moment she spoke, Xie Lian was struck by how unlike he had imagined her voice sounded. Cold, yet undeniably young. It carried the subtle tone of an unhappy little girl speaking more to herself than to anyone else. Her words were precise, measured, yet beneath the formality there was a trace of innocence and vulnerability. Mo, ever furious, spat out, "What happened? They're all dead." The state preceptor's eyes widened in disbelief. How could they all be dead? She asked, her voice tinged with shock. Mo, his rage uncontained, replied venomously, "Because you threw them all down here and trapped them in this cursed place." Yet, the state preceptor ignored his accusations, scanning the pit carefully, then asked, "Who's here?" "There's one more person." In the darkness of the sinner's pit, she sensed only Xie Lian, unaware that San Lang, already lacking breath or pulse, remained undetectable to her senses. The chaos above had made it impossible for her to track who had jumped or run off. And so she assumed it was just Xie Lian present with her. Mo, still bitter, pointed fingers at Xie Lian. shouting, "It's them! They killed my soldiers! Are you happy now? Everyone is finally dead." For a long moment, she remained silent. Then, as if drawing energy from nowhere, a flicker of light appeared in her palm, a small, controlled flame that revealed her form in the dark. She looked scarcely more than 17 or 18, clad in plain black, her eyes deep and somber, yet undeniably beautiful. Bruises marked her forehead and the corners of her mouth, highlighted by the soft glow of the flame. The sight struck Xie Lian with unexpected awe. The young woman, once imagined as a fearsome official, now appeared fragile and almost mournful. The flickering light illuminated the surrounding pit. Beneath her, the bodies of Ban Yu soldiers lay scattered, their armor glinting in the dim light, the grim evidence of the battles and betrayals that had transpired. Despite the small flame, much of the pit remained cloaked in shadows, hiding the enormity of the corpses around them. Xie Lian's eyes wandered slightly and caught a figure dressed in red beside her, faintly outlined by the flickering glow. It seemed taller than he remembered, the shadowed features strikingly elegant and refined. As if aware of his gaze, the figure's head tilted subtly, and a faint curve of lips hinted at a silent acknowledgement. Xie Lian felt compelled to step closer, wanting to see the youth more clearly. Suddenly, a wail split the air. Kei Mo, overcome by grief and seeing the devastation surrounding him, cradled a severed head in his arms. The state preceptor's expression remained unreadable as she nodded once, quietly saying, "Good." Kei Mo's anger erupted. "Good? What do you mean, good?" She calmly replied, "Because now we can finally be free." Then, finally noticing Xie Lian, she asked sharply, "You guys killed them?" Xie Lian tried to explain. It was an accident, but Kei Mo's roar cut him off. "What bald-faced lies are you spouting?" Xie Lian, unflustered, shrugged. "Life is full of accidents." The state preceptor studied him carefully, eyes scanning from Xie Lian to Sanlang, before speaking in the standard Han dialect. "Who are you people?" "I am an official from heaven. This is my friend." Xie Lian replied cautiously. Kei Mo did not understand the language, yet sensed no quarrel among them. The state preceptor's gaze lingered briefly on Sanlang before she spoke again. "No heavenly official has ever stepped foot here. I thought you people had long abandoned us." Xie Lian had prepared for battle, yet she showed no intention of fighting. Surprised, he realized she simply wanted to understand their presence. "Are you getting out or not?" she asked. Xie Lian explained the spell array above was preventing their escape. She stepped aside and struck the wall with her palm. "I've removed the spell array. You may go." Xie Lian could hardly believe her generosity. At that moment, a voice echoed from above, Fu Yao calling out, "Wei, is anybody down there? If not, I'm leaving." Xie Lian waved frantically, drawing Fu Yao's attention. With a mighty fireball, Fu Yao illuminated the sinner's pit, revealing the full horror of their surroundings. Mountains of corpses lay in all directions. Blood pooled across the ground, and Xie Lian stood on the sole patch untouched by death. Next to him, Sanlang appeared unchanged yet striking under the bright light. Xie Lian studied him closely, noticing nothing amiss on his wrists or boots, dismissing the faint sounds that had confused him in the darkness. Then, a muffled thud announced Fu Yao's descent into the pit. The young man wrinkled his nose at the heavy stench of blood, frowning as he asked, "What are these two doing here?" Xie Lian began to explain, pointing out Kei Mo and the state preceptor. Yet before he could finish, Kei Mo leapt to his feet and struck at the petite young girl. Despite her ability to easily dodge, she allowed herself to be flung to the ground like a broken doll. Kei Mo screamed, demanding her scorpion-tailed snakes attack him. "My snakes no longer obey me," she whispered softly. Kei Mo, enraged, sneered, "Then why have they not bitten you to death yet?" She merely murmured, "I'm sorry," shaking her head as Kei Mo raged at her perceived betrayal. Fu Yao watched the one-sided battle escalate, frowning. "Hey, what the hell are they talking about? Should we stop them?" Xie Lian could no longer remain a silent observer. He stepped forward to restrain Kei Mo, shouting, General, how about you tell us who the Yong'an villain was instead?" Suddenly, the state preceptor gripped his wrist tightly. Xie Lian's heart sank, fearing deceit, but when he lowered his gaze, he saw her lying half on the ground, her bruised lips and head tilted back to meet his eyes. Her pitch-black eyes held him with a startling intensity. A faint memory surfaced, overlapping with the present sight. "It's you?" Xie Lian breathed. The state preceptor replied softly. "General Hua?" Everyone in the pit froze. Confusion evident. Fu Yao quickly stunned Mo, asking, "You know each other?" Xie Lian had no time to answer, crouching to examine her face closely. After over 200 years, her appearance had changed, yet the face was unmistakable. "Ban Yu?" Xie Lian finally whispered. She grabbed his sleeve, a rare trace of emotion flashing across her face. "It's me, General Hua. Do you still remember me?" "Of course I remember you. But," Xie Lian's voice faltered as he studied her bruised, beaten form. "But, how did you end up like this?" A hint of sadness flickered in her eyes. "I'm sorry, Colonel, I messed up," she whispered. Fu Yao, utterly bewildered, asked, "Colonel? General? You? What is going on? What about that general's burial mound then?" Xie Lian nodded. "That's my burial mound." He recounted his story from 200 years ago, wandering south to gather scraps, traveling through Kinling, and eventually reaching the Gobi Desert. The broken compass had misled him, but he adapted, drifting northwest and settling temporarily near the Ban Yu border. He explained how he was forcibly enlisted, rising to colonel, eventually being called general by those around him. During his patrols, he encountered many orphaned children, including a frail, unhappy little girl, Ban Yu, who had been starving and constantly bruised. Xie Lian, moved by her plight, would feed her, teach her songs, and play with her during his free moments. Their bond grew quietly, unspoken, yet deeply rooted in care and protection. Xie Lian continued, revealing that he had initially assumed the state preceptor's name was derived from the country. Only later did he realize that Ban Yu was her actual name. As Fu Yao pressed for further details, Xie Lian explained that subsequent events mirrored the steel's inscriptions at his burial mound, chronicling his so-called death. He admitted that he had faked his death, surviving trampling and chaos during battles, barely remembering the precise events or the reasons for the wars, only that both nations had spiraled into madness. Despite the danger, he had charged forward, forced into conflict by circumstance. Fu Yao began chastising him. "You must have stuck yourself in the middle and pissed both sides off. Didn't you? Else why would they immediately chop you down when you showed up? And you knew that they hated you. You could have just avoided the mass of people. Why did you have to charge in headlong? If you had wanted to avoid them, you definitely could have." "Who's making mischief?" Xie Lian said. "I really can't remember anymore. Even though he's more resilient than a roach, being hacked at like that was still a bit too much." At the time, his only thought had been, "I can't keep this up," and so he had collapsed to the ground. Playing dead, he was trampled countless times, until eventually, he lost consciousness entirely. When he woke, he was choking on water, realizing he had been swept away by the river along with the countless corpses dumped there after the battle. He drifted like debris and eventually washed ashore in Yong'an country. There, he spent 3 or 4 years recovering his strength before resuming his journey with a functioning compass, finally arriving at his intended destination in the south. After that, he stopped concerning himself with Ban Yu nation's affairs entirely. Ban Yu's voice, quiet and soft, broke the silence. "I'm sorry." Fu Yao frowned. "Why does she keep apologizing to you?" San Lang's eyes narrowed thoughtfully. Earlier, Mo mentioned that the Ban Yu state preceptor left for the Central Plains after a revolt broke out. Was this revolt connected to you in any way? The question triggered a faint memory in Xie Lian. He blinked, as if recalling the inscriptions on the stone stele. "Ah, I think." Ban Yu interrupted in a subdued tone. "It was to save me." Everyone turned to look at her, and she lowered her head, her voice barely above a whisper. "General Hua was trampled because he was trying to save me." Xie Lian froze, suddenly reliving the horrifying moment of being crushed beneath countless stomping feet. Reflexively, he curled his arms around himself, only to realize 2 pairs of eyes were fixed on him intently. Hastily, he said, no, not flat at all. Fu Yao let out a remark tinged with teasing. Oh, you were really quite the hero, weren't you? Xie Lian waved a hand, dismissing the comment. You flatter me. Honestly, I simply happened to be there and decided to take the child with me. I only ran into both armies because of that. But how could you forget? Fu Yao demanded. Remember, I'm already a couple hundred years old. Xie Lian replied, his tone light. A lot can happen in a single year, let alone over centuries. Some things are better left forgotten. Why dwell on how I was repeatedly stabbed and trampled? I'd rather remember the delicious meat bun I had yesterday. Ban Yu whispered again. I'm sorry. Xie Lian sighed. Ban Yu, saving you was my choice, not your fault. If apologies are necessary, they should go elsewhere. She looked startled but said nothing further. Lowering her head, he continued, my memory of you is still as you were 200 years ago. I find it hard to believe you would scheme for revenge and betray those who trust you. Will you tell me, then, why you opened the city gates? Ban Yu hesitated and shook her head, remaining silent. Then, why did you send the snakes to attack people? He pressed. I didn't send them, Ban Yu finally replied. Xie Lian blinked in surprise. What? I didn't send the snakes. They acted on their own. I don't know why, but they no longer obey me, she said earnestly. Fu Yao's lips thinned, impatient. Save it, everyone says the same thing when caught. Excuses or not, people were bitten by your snakes while passing the pass. Hands out, it's time to go. Ban Yu obediently stretched out her hands, and Fu Yao pulled a length of immortal binding rope from his sleeve, tying her and K Mo up. All right, case closed. San Lang, lounging lazily, commented, she has no reason to lie. Xie Lian felt the need to probe further. Are you not able to summon the scorpion-tailed snakes at all? Ban Yu replied, I can call them. Most listen to me, but sometimes they don't. I don't know why. Call them now. Let us see, Xie Lian suggested. She nodded and rose, and soon a purplish-red scorpion-tailed snake slithered from beneath a corpse, its tongue flicking silently at them. Xie Lian approached cautiously, but Ban Yu's eyes widened in alarm. The snake suddenly lunged at him, fangs glistening. He stretched out to grab it, but before his hand could reach, a sharp pung sound rang out. The snake exploded neatly, spilling its insides without a drop of venom. Xie Lian immediately recalled a similar incident from before entering Ban Yu Nation. The culprit was obvious. Before he could react further, a red-sleeved arm, San Lang's, interposed, blocking Ban Yu. Fu Yao said coldly, she was trying to trick you. Did you really think the snake could bite him under these circumstances? Ban Yu's face hardened. It wasn't me. That snake was one of those that wouldn't listen. Fu Yao snorted derisively. And who's to say it wasn't acting on your orders? I didn't summon this snake, she replied, hollowly. Xie Lian looked up as two deep magenta snakes slithered from the corpses, followed by more and more. Soon, a swarm of scorpion-tailed snakes poured from every corner of the pit. Fu Yao shouted, tell them to back off. Surely some still obey you. Ban Yu knelt, concentrating hard, trying to repel the snakes. Yet the numbers kept growing, forming a hissing mass. Xie Lian readied Rui to act, but the snakes halted a few feet away, forming a circle around them. A sudden realization struck him. He turned to San Lang, who stood arrogantly, eyes fixed on the snakes. The snakes recoiled, heads lowering, seemingly intimidated, yet they could not fully retreat and instead slithered toward Fu Yao. With a wave, he sent a blaze, incinerating the attacking snakes. This cannot last long, Xie Lian warned. Let's leave this pit first. He sent Rui upward, but it immediately returned, shivering as though encountering something terrible above. Then, objects began falling from the sky, scorpion-tailed snakes. One landed on Fu Yao's shoulder, biting him before being thrown at Ban Yu, who caught it with her bound hands. More snakes rained down, hundreds of small, purplish-red specks descending rapidly. Fu Yao, fire, deal with them while they're in midair, Xie Lian shouted. Fu Yao drew blood and transformed it into a blazing shield of protective flames. Incinerating snakes mid-fall, he created a circle of fire around them on the ground, burning those that landed. Xie Lian relaxed briefly. Great, thanks, Fu Yao. The effort drained Fu Yao's energy. He glared at Ban Yu. If you are not controlling them, why are the snakes not attacking you? San Lang chuckled. Maybe you're just unlucky. They aren't attacking us either. Fu Yian's expression darkened. Xie Lian felt uneasy but was forming a theory. We should get out of here and figure out why the snakes are behaving this way later, he urged. Fu Yao sneered. Figure out what's wrong. If the Ban Yu state preceptor isn't lying, then it's the thing beside you causing trouble. Xie Lian glanced from Ban Yu to San Lang. I don't think it's them. His tone was calm but absolute, leaving no room for argument. Fu Yao's face twisted with incredulity and anger in the firelight. Your Royal Highness, can you ditch this ignorant act of yours? Do you still remember who you are? That thing beside you, surely you have long since known what it is. You must have realized by now. Well, what would you like to eat then? Hua Cheng? Xie Lian shifted to face Fu Yao and, intentionally or otherwise, when he took a step forwards, he shielded San Lang from view. There is no need to remind me of who I am. On this, I am most clear. The voice had come from above, and Xie Lian's head shot up immediately, his eyes scanning the sky. Which esteemed lord has arrived? He asked, surprise lacing his voice. There was no answer at first. Instead, a strange, persistent whoosh-whoosh sound reached his ears. At first it was faint, like the distant rustle of wings or the whisper of wind through leaves. But then the sound grew louder, stronger, turning into the unmistakable roar of surging, powerful winds. Before he could react, a violent cyclone struck the sinner's pit. The winds howled like a living creature, pulling at everything with incredible force. Xie Lian felt his feet lift off the ground. His body swept up and hurled through the air. In a frantic movement, he twisted to grasp San Lang, who was closest to him. Be careful, he shouted. But San Lang's calm demeanor contrasted sharply with the chaos. The youth looped an arm around him, steadying them both as they spun helplessly through the air, their surroundings a blur of dust, sand, and whirling air currents. For a moment, it felt as if the world had been turned entirely upside down. Then, as abruptly as it began, the winds died. Xie Lian and San Lang hovered momentarily, suspended in midair, before beginning a rapid descent. Instinctively, Xie Lian shook Rue, the celestial spirit serpent, urging it to emerge and help them. There's nothing scary here anymore. Be good now, Rue, come out and save us. He patted it twice, coaxing the spirit into lengthening and unfurling. But the barren space around them offered no purchase. Rue, after a brief turn, returned to its hiding spot. Resigned, Xie Lian braced for impact. As he fell, San Lang's skillful intervention twisted his body at the last instant, allowing him to land squarely on his feet, an unexpected grace that left Xie Lian momentarily stunned. His attention was quickly drawn to a dark figure staggering towards them through the dust. Nan Feng, he exclaimed in recognition and relief. Nan Feng was in a pitiful state. His clothing was torn, his body coated in dust, looking as though he had endured a night of relentless chaos. His movements were slow, heavy with exhaustion, but he acknowledged Xie Lian's call with a lifted hand and a weary expression. Wiping dust from his face, Xie Lian reached out to support him. What happened to you? Did you get beaten up by those two ladies? Behind Nan Feng, two more figures approached. The first, a woman in white, walked with an air of elegance, her horsetail whisk resting casually in her arm. She smiled warmly at Xie Lian. Hello, Your Highness, she greeted, and Xie Lian, unsure of her proper title but recognizing the courtesy, returned a polite smile. The second figure, a woman in black, moved silently and aloofly, her eyes briefly flicking over Xie Lian before resting suspiciously on San Lang. She paused for a heartbeat, measuring him carefully, her steps hesitant as she assessed the situation. The Wind Master, as Xie Lian now realized the woman in white must be, crouched gracefully before Pei Su. Xiao Pei Ah, I heard everything, she said softly. Pei Su lowered his head, unfazed, acknowledging the Wind Master's presence. Xie Lian was momentarily stunned. The woman he had once assumed to be a demon or malevolent spirit was in fact a heavenly official, and the Wind Master at that. A figure of immense authority and power. Nan Feng, catching Xie Lian's gaze, muttered darkly, "How would I know? I have never seen the Wind Master like this before." Xie Lian nodded, understanding that her current appearance was likely a deliberate guise, masking her true identity. The Wind Master turned her attention to Pei Su. "Do you admit to having lured travelers into Banyu City over the past 200 years? She asked. And Pei Su, already caught, responded quietly, "It was me." Xie Lian listened intently as the Wind Master probed further, seeking the reasoning behind Pei Su's actions. "Because these tortured souls are ironclad evidence of your bloody past as a mortal," she remarked, "and may one day hinder your ascension to glory. Correct?" Pei Su did not deny her words, his stance calm and measured. Curiosity gnawed at Xie Lian. But why not deal with them directly? Why lure living travelers to satisfy these aggrieved spirits? How is this any different from using one problem to solve another? San Lang answered for him. "He cannot," he said simply. "Heavenly officials, like Pei Su, are bound by rules, limited in what they can act upon directly. His divine self could not intervene without drawing attention, nor could he employ troops overtly, using the scorpion-tailed snakes, famed pets of Banyu, to orchestrate events in the mortal realm was the perfect covert solution, a plan that solved one problem by borrowing the actions of another." The Wind Master's expression remained composed but firm. "Your family's General Pei would not have done such a thing. This time, you have crossed the line," she said. Pei Su bowed his head in acknowledgement. "This youngster understands," he murmured. Rising, the Wind Master fixed Xie Lian with a courteous smile. "Your Highness, it is a pleasure to meet you at last. I have heard so much about you." Xie Lian, ever polite, returned her gesture. "No, the pleasure is mine, esteemed Wind Master." Apologetically, she continued, "I am sorry for what happened earlier." Xie Lian tilted his head. "Earlier? What do you mean?" "You encountered a sandstorm in the desert," the Wind Master reminded him. "I raised it to keep you away from Banyu Kingdom. But despite it, you still found your way into the city." Xie Lian's mind reeled at the implications. The Wind Master's actions were deliberate, meant to deter, yet somehow, they had navigated straight to Banyu City. "In this matter," she added gently, "it is best if your Highness does not involve himself." A glance toward Banyu, curled on the ground, sent a twinge of unease through him. Surely, if the matter reached the heavenly court, evidence could be skewed to portray Pei Su as blameless, leaving Banyu to bear the consequences. Yet Xie Lian stepped forward, placing himself before her ward. "I am already neck-deep in this," he said calmly. "It is a little pointless to tell me not to involve myself now." The Wind Master chuckled softly. "Be at ease, you can bring the state preceptor of Banyu away first. We have heard all we need. She is on the cusp of becoming a wrath, yet she has been rescuing lives, setting traps for Banyu soldiers while freeing mortals. I will only be taking General Pei Jr. and K-Mo. You need not worry about a scapegoat being drawn in." Relieved, Xie Lian relaxed. "I was overly suspicious," he admitted, and the Wind Master reassured him. "It is natural to be concerned. Underhanded practices do exist in the heavenly court. After all." The woman in black finally interjected, impatience plain in her voice. "Done talking? Can we go now?" The Wind Master's response was playful yet firm. "What are you in such a rush for? I will talk as long as I want." Yet she rose, moving toward her companion. With a flourish, she drew her folding fan from her waist and addressed Xie Lian formally. "Your Highness, let us meet again in the heavenly court?" Xie Lian nodded. The Wind Master flicked open her fan, revealing the character for Wind boldly emblazoned on its front, with flowing lines depicting movement on the back, her divine weapon. She flapped the fan thrice upward, then reversed it for 3 more strokes, summoning a sudden gale that swept the plains. Sand and gravel twisted into dizzying spirals, forcing Xie Lian to lift his sleeves against the force. When the winds finally died down, the Wind Master, her companion, Pei Su, and Kei Mo had vanished, leaving Xie Lian, San Lang, Nan Feng, and the curled Ban Yu behind. The sound of clashing blades did not waver. Their opponent paid no heed to him. But Xie Lian wasn't overly concerned. "You think my words are only meant to trick you, General Pei Jr.? Well, what would you like to eat then? Hua Cheng?" Xie Lian lowered his sleeves and asked foolishly. "What just happened?" Xie Lian stood still for a moment, dust settling on his sleeves, his mind still trying to process the whirlwind of events that had just transpired. The gale, the sudden appearance of the Wind Master, Pei Su's confession, and the chaotic rescue of the travelers, all of it seemed like a vivid dream. San Lang strolled over, calm and composed, his presence a reassuring anchor in the aftermath of the chaos. "Something good," San Lang said casually. Xie Lian blinked at him. "Something good?" "Yes," San Lang replied, his voice steady. "By asking you not to get involved. The Wind Master was helping you." Xie Lian slowly absorbed this. The Wind Master had deliberately shielded him from the consequences of the complex political and spiritual situation involving Pei Su and the Ban Yu soldiers. He now understood. Despite his instincts to intervene, his involvement had been kept in check to protect him from potential retribution by the powerful General Pei. Nan Feng joined them, dust and sweat still marking his tired face. "Yes," he confirmed, "you've handled this matter from start to finish. The only thing left now is to report it to the Heavenly Emperor. You do not need to involve yourself any further." Xie Lian nodded, comprehension dawning. "It's because of General Pei, isn't it?" "Correct," Nan Feng said bluntly, a slight edge of warning in his tone. "You've royally pissed him off this time." Xie Lian chuckled softly, brushing a stray strand of hair from his face. "I had long anticipated offending at least one person. It doesn't really matter who it is." But Nan Feng's frown deepened. "Do not take my words as jest. Aside from the Palace Hall of the Supreme Martial God, the Ming Guang Palace Hall holds the most power. General Pei places great importance on Xiao Pei, and has long sought to elevate Pei Su over Quan Yi Zhen. He will surely look for trouble with you. Quan Yi Zhen, the martial god of the West you asked about, may be young, but he is no lightweight. Pei Su has spared no effort to wrest believers from the West, and your interference may have severely disrupted his plans. If Pei Su is demoted or otherwise punished, it will reflect on you as well." Xie Lian rubbed his brow, considering the ramifications. San Lang, ever practical, countered, "There's no need to worry. Pei Ming is proud. It's beneath him to create unnecessary trouble for others." Xie Lian's thoughts turned to the Wind Master. "By asking me to stay out of it, does she intend to shoulder the responsibility herself? Wouldn't that put her at odds with General Pei?" He hesitated, then added, "No, we should call her back. Nan Feng, do you have the passcode for her spirit communication array?" Nan Feng snorted, dismissing his concern. "Focus on yourself first. General Pei may move against you, but he will not touch the Wind Master. She is well positioned, far more so than you are." Xie Lian fell silent, reflecting on the dangerous politics of the upper court of heaven. Indeed, having a strong backer provided security, but did it guarantee a smooth future? Even the Crown Prince of Xianle, backed by the supreme martial god Jun Wu, had failed. He shook his head slightly, adjusting his bamboo hat, dusting it clean, and looped it around his neck. Looking at Nan Feng, he asked with concern, "Have you been chasing and battling with those two ladies the entire time?" "Yes," Nan Feng said grimly. "You've had a hard time," Xie Lian said sympathetically, patting him on the shoulder. His thoughts immediately turned to another figure, Fu Yao. "Where is he?" Nan Feng reminded him. "Wasn't he looking after those who were poisoned?" Xie Lian realized he had not seen Fu Yao since the gale swept them from the pit. Perhaps he had escaped to distance himself from the chaos, or simply vanished in the confusion. Then Nan Feng's words hit him. "Poisoned, the Kindred Moon herbs." San Lang urged calm. "No hurry, daybreak has just arrived." But Xie Lian could not wait, lives were at stake. He hoisted Ban Yu onto his back and sprinted toward the palace grounds. There, he quickly located and began harvesting the Kindred Moon herbs, carefully ignoring the mangled remains of the long-dead merchant whose bones lay scattered, a victim from over 50 years ago. Curiously, the body of the other merchant was missing, leaving Xie Lian puzzled but undeterred. San Lang brought out a small clay pot from the palace halls. "Many thanks, San Lang," Xie Lian exclaimed, relieved. He shrank Ban Yu to fit inside and sealed her safely in the pot. After collecting the herbs, they rushed back, roughly 4 hours after the initial attack by the scorpion-tailed snakes. Returning to Fu Yao's protective circle, they found several travelers obediently contained within the array. The elderly man, once poisoned, began to recover after treatment with the Kindred Moon herbs. Xie Lian carefully avoided revealing the origin of the herb's magical fertilizer, prioritizing immediate recovery over explanation. Anxious voices soon caught Xie Lian's attention. Tian Sheng, clutching armfuls of herbs, appeared with 2 other merchants, exhausted from their desperate flight. After Ban Yu whisked them away from the sinner's pit and indicated a safe path, they had collected the necessary herbs and rushed back to aid the poisoned. The travelers were safely escorted out of the desert, and the immediate danger had finally passed. Yet as they parted ways, Tian Sheng approached Xie Lian with a mysterious expression. "Gerger, I have something to ask you," the boy said. "Ask away," Xie Lian replied. "Are you a god?" Tian Sheng asked, awe in his voice. Xie Lian paused, touched by the genuine curiosity and belief of the child. No one had ever truly acknowledged his divine status. Yet here was a boy asking sincerely. Tian Sheng added quickly, "I saw you using magic. Don't worry, I won't tell anyone." The child continued, "We owe you our lives. If not for you, we would have been thrown into the pit by those horrible ghost soldiers. When I get home, I'll build a temple and dedicate offerings to you." Xie Lian's lips curved into a gentle smile. The boy's enthusiasm was infectious, even if the construction of a grand temple was likely beyond feasibility. After some gentle coaxing, Xie Lian gave the boy a playful title, God of Scraps, and waved him off. Nan Feng employed his distance-reducing technique to transport them back to the Puqi shrine. Xie Lian opened the door, shook out the straw mat, and flopped down. Exhausted, San Lang settled beside him, chin resting on a hand, silently observing him. "How long have we been gone?" Xie Lian asked, sighing. "About 3 to 4 days," San Lang replied. Xie Lian groaned softly. "Only 3 to 4 days? Why does it feel so tiring?" Finished sighing, he glanced toward Nan Feng and Yi. "Why haven't you gone back to report?" "Report what?" Nan Feng asked warily. Xie Lian reminded him, "Aren't you an official from the Nanyang Palace Hall? Wouldn't your general notice if you were absent for 3 to 4 days?" "My general is currently not in the palace hall. He won't bother himself with me," Nan Feng answered. Xie Lian stood. "Okay, you staying here is fine too." He offered a smile. "I'll cook a meal for you. My treat is thanks." Nan Feng's face twisted in a mix of disbelief and exasperation. Pressing 2 fingers to his temple, he muttered as if receiving a spirit message. Something came up at the temple. "I'll be leaving first." Xie Lian raised his hand, protesting lightly. Nan Feng, don't leave yet. Why did something suddenly crop up? You've really worked hard this time." Nan Feng's voice boomed as he retreated. "It's really urgent." He left in a hurry, leaving Xie Lian to laugh quietly. "Guess he wasn't hungry," he remarked to San Lang. Before San Lang could reply, a loud bang at the door startled them. Nan Feng had returned, standing stiffly at the entrance. "The both of you?" Xie Lian tilted his head. "What about the both of us?" Nan Feng paused, pointed first at San Lang, then at Xie Lian, and finally muttered, "I'll be back." Before closing the door, Xie Lian crossed his arms thoughtfully, glancing at San Lang with a smile. "Seems like it's really something urgent." He looked at the youth again. "Since he's not hungry, how about you?" San Lang grinned. "I'm hungry." Xie Lian beamed and got up again. As he turned around to tidy up the table of offerings, he said, "All right, what would you like to eat then?" Hua Cheng? There was silence behind him, followed by a low chuckle. I would still prefer to be called San Lang. However, can I see what you really look like? Xie Lian, blood rain seeking flower? Hua Cheng, Your Royal Highness the Crown Prince. Xie Lian turned around with a gentle smile, slightly taken aback by the words. It was the first time he had ever been addressed this way by Hua Cheng, and the feeling was oddly different from any other. The youth in red sat casually on the straw mat, one leg bent before him, smiling with an almost mischievous calm. How does it feel? Hua Cheng asked, his tone easy, yet carrying a depth that made Xie Lian pause. Xie Lian considered for a moment, honestly replying, it feels rather different from when others call me that. Hua Cheng tilted his head, curiosity flickering across his features. How is it different? Xie Lian narrowed his eyes thoughtfully, searching for words. When others addressed him as Your Royal Highness, it was usually perfunctory, either detached, like Ling Wen, or masked with hollow smiles hiding mockery. Even those who seemed polite often carried a subtle venom, polite words veiling disdain or derision. But Hua Cheng's address had a sincerity, a deep reverence that resonated with Xie Lian in a way that made him pause and feel seen. It was a rare and unfamiliar warmth. At Mount Yu Jun, Xie Lian continued, the bridegroom who led me away, that was you, right? Hua Cheng's lips curled into a smirk. Xie Lian realized he had phrased his question ambiguously and quickly corrected himself. I mean, the one who posed as the bridegroom at Mount Yu Jun to lead me away, that was you. Wasn't it? Hua Cheng shook his head slightly, amused. I did not pose as a bridegroom. Xie Lian blinked, then remembered. He had indeed followed willingly, drawn by something beyond words. And Hua Cheng had not spoken a single word, simply extending a hand. That silent invitation had been enough. All right, Xie Lian said, curiosity brimming. Then why were you at Mount Yu Jun? Hua Cheng leaned back slightly, still smiling. There can only be two answers. I went there expressly to seek Your Royal Highness. Or I was merely passing by and felt bored. Which seems more likely to you? Xie Lian's eyes swept over the youth, noting the ease with which he seemed to occupy his surroundings, yet the underlying intensity he carried. I would not presume to say which is more likely, but you do seem to have a lot of free time on your hands. He studied Hua Cheng for a long moment before nodding. You are somewhat different from how the legends portray you. Hua Cheng adjusted slightly, cheek propped on one hand, gazing at Xie Lian with careful attention. Oh, then how did Your Royal Highness deduce that I am blood rain seeking flower? Xie Lian recalled the bloody rain falling on the parasol, the metallic chime of his weapons striking against each other, and the icy cold of the vambraces he had noticed. Hua Cheng had not tried to hide himself at all. No matter how we tested you, you were foolproof. That must mean you have reached the devastation state. Clad entirely in crimson, like maple leaves, like blood, you seemed omniscient, omnipotent, and utterly fearless. Aside from blood rain seeking flower, who else could make even the heavenly officials uneasy with just a name? Hua Cheng laughed softly, a musical note that carried both amusement and warmth. Should I take that as flattery? Xie Lian thought, isn't it obvious? The youth's smile dimmed slightly. Your Highness, pretty words aside, aren't you going to ask about my purpose for approaching you? Xie Lian shook his head. If you do not intend to tell me, it is useless for me to ask. Or perhaps you would not tell the truth anyway. Hua Cheng's lips curved in a knowing smile. Not necessarily. You can always drive me away. You know. Xie Lian's eyes narrowed thoughtfully. Even if I did, someone as powerful as you could simply change your appearance and approach me again if you meant me harm. They exchanged a quiet, understanding smile. Their moment of calm was broken by a sudden rattling sound. Ban Yu's small black clay pot had toppled over and was rolling across the Puqi shrine floor, bouncing lightly against the wooden door. Concerned, Xie Lian hurried to open it. The clay pot rolled out into the grass and righted itself, seeming almost contemplative under the starry night sky. Hua Cheng followed him outside, leaning against a tree. Xie Lian crouched beside the pot. Ban Yu, are you awake? A muffled voice emerged. General Hua. Xie Lian chuckled softly. Did you come out to look at the stars? How about you come out of the pot? Hua Cheng intervened gently. She just left Banyu City. It is better if she stays inside a bit longer. Xie Lian nodded in agreement. Rest and recuperate. This is my sanctum. Nothing here will harm you. The pod shook twice. Xie Lian added, Banyu, none of what happened was your fault. Your scorpion-tailed snakes. Banyu's voice interjected. General Hua, I could not move before. But I could hear everything. Xie Lian froze, realizing Pei Su had sealed only her movement, not her consciousness. He breathed a quiet sigh of relief. At least she had heard all that had transpired. The pot asked hesitantly, General Hua, what will happen to General Pei Jr.? Xie Lian folded his hands into his sleeves and sighed. I do not know, but one must face punishment for their crimes. Banyu remained silent, then nodded in acknowledgement. Actually, General Pei Jr. is not as bad as you think. He has helped me before. Memories flooded Xie Lian's mind. Banyu had endured countless beatings. Her resilience remarkable. Those who helped her, however, left lasting impressions, engraved in her memory forever. K. Mo accused me of being charmed by him, a tool used by others. But regardless, I opened the city gates willingly. Banyu added. Xie Lian felt his chest tighten. He patted the pot gently. It is in the past now. By the way, Banyu, Hua Xie, was just a name I made up, and I have not been a general for a long time. You do not have to call me General Hua. Banyu asked softly, what should I call you then? Xie Lian hesitated. Never mind, it is up to you. General Hua is fine too. He frowned slightly, noting the curious coincidence of their chosen surnames, and shook the thought away. Banyu's voice trembled with earnestness. I am sorry, General Hua. Xie Lian's brows furrowed. Why do you keep apologizing to me? I wanted to save the common people. She replied simply. Xie Lian was silent, struck by her sincerity. Banyu continued, her voice wavering. I dreamed of saving the common people, as you said, but I ended up destroying the Banyu nation. No matter what I did, the outcomes were terrible. Can you tell me where I went wrong? What must I do to truly save the people? Xie Lian murmured. I am sorry, Banyu. I did not have the answer then. And I still do not have it now. She sighed. I do not know what I have been doing these 200 years. I am a failure. Xie Lian felt the weight of her words pressing on him. 800 years of muddling along blindly. Was he not an even greater failure? Leaving Banyu to contemplate the stars in her pot, Xie Lian and Hua Cheng returned to the Puqi shrine. Xie Lian's voice was firm, reflective. Banyu stayed willingly in Banyu Pass, not because she had turned into a wrath, but because of her desire for atonement. She could not forget opening the city gates and never sought to excuse her actions. She allowed herself to be captured to help the soldiers vent their grievances. Hua Cheng explained the cruel logic of Pei Su's methods, that a puppet's diminished power required him to act in ways that were harsh and swift. Xie Lian recalled the devastation wrought by Sanlang, and Hua Cheng quirked a brow. Confirming, you are looking at the real thing. Shocked, Xie Lian exclaimed, huh, this is your true self? Hua Cheng deadpanned, guaranteed genuine, otherwise returnable. Xie Lian's curiosity overcame him. Without thinking, he lifted a finger and poked Hua Cheng's cheek, mortified instantly at the impulsive act. Hua Cheng's expression flickered in surprise, then settled back into calm, amusement glinting in his eyes. Xie Lian muttered, staring at his finger, not bad. Hua Cheng burst into laughter. What's not bad, my skin? Yay, it's pretty good, but... Hua Cheng prompted, but? Xie Lian met his gaze, hesitating before asking, but can I see what you really look like? This time, Hua Cheng did not answer immediately. He lowered his arms by his sides. It may be Xie Lian's imagination, but his eyes seemed to grow darker. Xie Lian's heart tightened. In this episode, we saw Xie Lian and his companions navigating a series of perilous challenges in the desert. From confronting deadly scorpion-tailed snakes to rescuing those who had been poisoned. The heroes showed courage, teamwork, and quick thinking, gathering the precious Kindred Moon herbs to save lives, all while uncovering the delicate power dynamics among the heavenly officials, including the tense consequences of offending powerful figures like General Pei. We also witnessed moments of deep reflection and emotional connection, particularly between Xie Lian and Ban Yu, as they confronted past mistakes, the weight of responsibility, and the struggle to protect the common people. Meanwhile, Hua Cheng's true strength and enigmatic presence became more evident, revealing glimpses of his true form and deepening the bond with Xie Lian. This collection of events highlights bravery, loyalty, and the enduring human and divine spirit as they face both external dangers and internal dilemmas. What happens next? Stay tuned for the next episode of Heaven Official's Blessing. If you enjoyed this episode or found it intriguing, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel to receive notifications about the latest episodes in Xie Lian's journey. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you again in the next video.